The 17th of February 2025. It's on the news this morning that Irish Water, UISCE EIREANN, are buying generators. Now, one of the things you note when you got the breakdown of electricity services, mainly because trees just pulled the wires down. I saw it myself and left them lying on the road. They had to turn off everything. They couldn't leave the lights or electricity on. Some child could be going the road and get killed. So that's all right. We're not making a big issue of that. But what it did this thing that Warren Buffett said: when the tide goes out, you soon see who's naked. And when there was no electricity, we saw how we got on. Now, the point is made about the internet relying on the electricity. Batteries would equally do. I would have tried my internet with the generator, but I couldn't because the damn thing was cut on the pole. The two things happened. The electricity was out and my connector was out, and that was a great pity. But I might try it again anyway. I can just plug it out and try it with the generator at some stage, and of course it will work. Now, the thing is, during the cut down of the power, there was no waterworks. You see, most towns have some reservoir. The water's pumped up to a reservoir to get a certain level and a certain pressure. Instead of pumping it individually round to each house under high pressure, you pump it up to the reservoir and you leave it, and then that creates the pressure needed to give every house pressure. And the higher up you go in a house, the lower the pressure will be. But so long as the reservoir is higher up, you get water. And I have that system on one of my sheds, the sheds down for giving water to the cattle. So anyway, so when the electricity broke, they couldn't pump the water. Moreover, they couldn't pump the sewage. And so the town of Ballyjamesduff was out for 2 weeks. And so the UISCE EIREANN is now going to buy generators to run these services. And it won't take a lot of power. The pumps that are used are 3-phase. They're self-starting pumps. They're not single phase with capacitor run. They're 3-phase, and you can have them very powerful, but they don't need them that powerful. So they're going to have buy-in pumps. Now, this is quite costly, and any company that's making generators is the place to have shares. I don't know what I have money committed at the moment, but if I hadn't, I'd be buying generators. They're noisy yokes, but some of them can be made less noisy, and we see them in evidence all around our communities an awful lot more. So what will happen is, in my opinion, is that as the electricity service becomes more and more unreliable, that you're going to see more and more private generation. Now, remember, the Irish authorities thought that they were going to replace their generators, their coal, oil and gas, with windmills. And instead of that, it's what they've discovered they can't. That only certain days you have a bit of wind energy and the rest you don't. And I discovered, and I have no one to dispute this, they're burning 56 articulated tanker lorries of diesel oil, ordinary diesel oil, every day. They're burning 3 lorry loads in one plant, and there are 3 plants, 56 lorry loads a day. We seem to prove that Eamon Ryan tried to buy 10 million worth of huge diesel engines running on both fuel, oil and gas, and they couldn't get them out of Dublin Port. They're still lying there, but some places have them. And I have a friend who was in a data centre, and there are gangs and gangs of yellow Caterpillar diesel generators all along the side of these. So this is proving that the only way to generate electricity is by the quick way, diesel engines, the slightly quicker way, open cycle gas turbines, or the slower way, combined cycle gas turbines, which are more efficient, or condensing steam turbines using coal, and so they're even more efficient still. So as you go for the quick fix, you have less efficiency and more emissions. So the whole thing about the emissions is standing on its head. And in actual fact, there's a man wrote a thesis on it, a bit like Griffin's Law, or some of these principles of facts of life, is that the more you introduce one new form of fuel, the more you rely on the earlier one. And that is the thing I'll deal with in a separate video. So as the all this junk is posed on the grid with pylons and all, the price of electricity is going to go up because the ESB announced it was going to load the cost of the recent storm onto the consumers. So the price is going to get dearer and dearer, and so it will get to such a degree that it will become unaffordable. If it's unaffordable and unreliable, there'll be reason to move. If it's affordable and reliable, it'll be less to move, unless you're a big company, like a big stone breaking yard or a big quarry. You could very easily run your ordinary lights and computers off the mains and run the rest off a generator. What's the point? What's the difference in burning a lorry load of diesel a week in your quarry and burning it in the filling station, or in the power station, over in Offaly or whatever? I mean, it's the same thing. But then if people buy generators, they're going to use them. So it's not a good thing to buy a generator and throw it there. And we're going to find ourselves using our generators more and more for certain things. We're going to begin to see the mains power system sidelined as it becomes more and more expensive. And they can't do anything about it. They can't ban you because it'd leave industries all stuck. And there had been blackouts promised before the storm ever happened. So it's a warning for people. It brings people to reality. And here we have UISCE EIREANN now going for the generators. And they'll eventually produce diesel generators, which will be very, very silent, very well covered in. And if you could do it, I can see no reason why you couldn't use the heating water from the diesel generator to heat rooms, etc., in an adjacent property. That might come in due course. There's the diesel generators engines that Ryan was buying, and I don't know if there were generators attached to them, were capable of running on gas as well. You can run a diesel engine on gas in certain circumstances, ordinary natural gas. So folks, that's the story on this. It's more and more mayhem as we let the forces of the state, elected by the domadons of the people in the country, loose on practical matters, whether it be the children's hospital, the electricity supply, or any other thing. And if they had to get their way and maybe still did stick in diversity, equity and inclusion into the whole buying process, the people who would be making the contracts would have to be these crowd, and they wouldn't have a clue, and more mayhem ensues. All right, folks, we'll let you go at that. But that's what's happening. The private generation of electricity is now starting to take off big time, burning diesel oil, essentially. And that is a poor way to be, whereas a company has to put so much effort, Irish Water has to put so much effort into actually having electricity, that it would be better off putting that into doing something else. So it takes away from it somewhere else and drives up the cost of your water, because you can't rely on the electricity service anymore. Comment underneath. 8 minutes, not too bad. We'll see you back soon. Bye. Thank you.